It took me 4 plane rides to get all the way to Palau. From Hartford to Chicago, to Honolulu, to Guam, and then into Koror. We were in Koror for about 2 days, getting our COVID protocol straightened up and getting some rest, waiting for all of our teammates to arrive. We boarded the boat finally on Sunday. Eat, sleep, and dive is not a joke. The boat was amazing. Actually, 2 boats in one. And if the boat was amazing, the crew was 10 times that. They waited on us hand and foot, and we're a very effective team. Once we got on the boat, the first hours were spent getting ourselves organized, learning about the boat's protocols and procedures, checking certifications, getting signed in, and putting our equipment together because we were going to be in the water at 7 a.m. the next day. There were people from all over the United States on this trip with us, from Hawaii to Seattle to Massachusetts, Florida. All walks of life, all committed to citizen science for the week. Every morning started off with a quick technical briefing on where we were going to go, what was expected of us, what we could expect on the bottom. The dive masters were very, very professional, but ruthless in getting us up. Most everybody was breathing a nitrox mix for air. And as you can see, modesty is not something that belongs on a dive boat. Once we were ready, we'd board the skiff and launch off for our first dive of the morning at 7 a.m. Once you were on the skiff, you got your equipment together. Checked with your buddy and got ready for the first plunge. The pictures speak for themselves. The bottom topography, the hard and soft corals, the fish, and the invertebrate animals all combined for just an amazing week. Dive after dive, 3 dives a day. You'll notice the divers usually have a clipboard with them because our number 1 job was to inventory and count fish as we explored. This was the bumphead parrotfish spawning. These fish are 3 to 4 feet in length. This happens only on the new moon this time of year. We were very fortunate to see it. The second day, this manta ray swam right by us. That was not my video, although I did get a picture of it. Show it to you in a second here. Here's my picture. You can see why I used everybody else's videos. So many fish, so little time. You may recognize this character from Nemo. Many fish I knew, many I didn't. And that's what we did in between dives, was spent our time cataloging, organizing, and reporting our data. If you didn't know what fish it was, there was usually a reference that would help us pinpoint it, or somebody on board that knew what it was. Some of Nemo's cousins. And as I said, sometimes the most fascinating life wasn't even a fish. This guy didn't think so. This was pretty shallow here, although our depths ranged from just a few feet down to 100 plus feet. Normally we'd be working in the 50 to 80 foot range. But with the water visibility so great, it was always easy to see. A lot of our dives were on vertical walls with depths to several hundred feet sometimes. And because of that, and Palau's location in the Pacific, the currents could be very strong. And very fun if you knew what you were doing. Now that's a camera. Usually after a quick safety stop, the skiff would pick us up and we would head back to the aggressor for food, rest, and sorting our fish out. The crew is always there with a refreshment, an encouraging word, or a hot meal. The food was first class all week. And I made sure I partook of all of it. If we weren't eating or sleeping, though, it was either talking about the next dive or trying to figure out which fish we'd seen. Because before long, we'd be back on the boat and back in the water. This is a cuttlefish. It was huge. It's the only one I've ever seen. My friend Steve took this video. One of those animals that just doesn't seem to make sense. course, it's not actually a fish. That's me with my little GoPro. And the cuttlefish decided to move on. That was my dive partner, Marty. Marty's from LA, but originally from Brooklyn. We had a great week. Green turtles and hawksbill turtles every day, and they just did not care whether we were there or not. My friend Steve shot this video of the octopus he found. I found one earlier in the week, but his octopus was fully out, and I've never seen an octopus do this before. Watch how it changes its colors right there in the center of your screen. So amazing. This mom got a little irritated with us and eventually pulled back into her lair. We went into several holes, or somewhat of a cave. Not really cave diving, but what an experience. It's said by some that this is some of the best scuba diving in the world. I would have to agree. You didn't have to search to find fish. Matter of fact, you'd be hard-pressed to look somewhere where there wasn't a fish. Or a nudibranch. Reef sharks pretty much every day. Black tips, white tips. This was right on the edge of a drop-off with a very, very strong current. If you weren't tied in, the current would carry you backwards fairly quickly. You could use your reef hook and sit there on the edge and just watch the various species swim by in the current like a highway. My friends from Hawaii were always up for a laugh. Back to the boat for another meal and ready for the next dive. We took a couple land excursions, one to the battlefields of Palau, the Battle of Palau. A somber side trip. And another day we stopped at the Jellyfish Lake, which is a World Heritage Site. These are non-stinging jellyfish that you're allowed to get in and swim with. It was amazingly soothing. I thought I was going to fall asleep and sink to the bottom. You can see the surface. It was raining that day. But at 85 degrees and 100% humidity, it doesn't really matter. Back on the boat for some fun and games and great food. And then more fish research. Nine days in a row. The crew were mostly from Palau and the Philippines, with one crew member from Nepal. So friendly, so talented. They put us first the entire week. And I thank Ripon for putting most of this video together. I've inserted some of my own pieces to it. Right after the aggressor logo here, I've got some pictures from the outtakes. This is a mandarin fish about to come out of that coral right there. About 2 inches long. Very popular fish for photographers. Amazing patterns, but very shy. Here it comes. Again, this is Steve's work with his GoPro. A great view of our local anemone fish. One of the 3 species that were there. This is a pair of stingrays that I found underneath the boat. I was not scuba diving, I was just free swimming. Actually trying to get some pictures of sharks. These were about 2.5 feet across. As I said, the boat drivers had amazing skill getting us in and out of these islands quickly and safely. Getting us out of the water no matter where we drifted to.